Busy week, being FinTech week. I am Samantha from SG Innovate's partnerships team, and we are a government-funded investor looking at deep tech innovations across advanced manufacturing, agri-food, sustainability, I already said advanced manufacturing, healthcare, and of course, digitalization. So today we're very happy to have Prof. Cha with us. Apart from providing financial support to our startups, we also run community events like today to foster networks across entrepreneurs, regulators, investors, and more. And we also have our talent arm, which focuses on talent training programs as well as talent matching for the deep tech startups in our ecosystem. So today we have Prof. Cha joining us for this Firestarter event. Our Firestarter series is where we invite seasoned entrepreneurial leaders to share about their inspiring journeys, to inspire members of our community to take that step and kickstart their journey into deep tech. And today, Professor Sang-Kyun Cha, who is a professor, innovator, entrepreneurial investor, who has worked on 3 generations of commercialized in-memory database technology since he joined Seoul National University in 1992. And in 2000, he founded Transact in Memory Incorporated with his vision of developing an enterprise in-memory database called Parallel Transact in Memory Engine. The company was acquired by SAP in late 2005, following which he established SAP Labs Korea and led SAP's secret research towards SAP HANA as co-founding chief architect until early 2014. Professor Cha is also the founding director of Big Data Institute and the founding dean of Graduate School of Data Science at Seoul National University. He actively coaches startup founders while consulting venture capitals in Silicon Valley and was recently invited by Storm Ventures to join as their executive venture partner. So Professor Cha has prepared a short presentation on his unique journey across his projects, his experience scaling academic research, and the friends he made along the way. So may I please invite Professor on the stage to start his presentation.
Well, thank you very much for invitation. I just happened to be in Singapore this week, attending the FinTech Week, and it was a great opportunity for me to learn about real FinTech here. I'm an experimentalist. So, what does it mean? You do experiment, and some of the experiment fail, and you continue to revise the plan and, to experiment. So that's the life that I lived, around 30 years. Just happened to be, I just happened to be successful. If I gave up in the middle, then, nobody knows me. Yeah, anyway. So, just happened to use the word the new frontiers, and maybe this term is, maybe you're familiar with this term. So, So the gentleman on the right is, I think his name is called Vannevar Bush. I don't know whether you heard about him. He was the in charge of in charge of R&D during the wartime, Second War in U.S. And so he actually led the development of atomic bombs and the radar technology for detecting enemy planes, etc. So anyway, at the end of war, he was asked to create a plan for U.S. to maintain the technological leadership in the world. Before the World War II, U.S. was not the number one, technological state, and so he created a plan, and then that the report was named "Science: The Endless Frontier," and you can find it easily from the web. And I think a couple of years ago, It was the 75th anniversary. I think it's 2020. Yeah, 2020. Anyway, so I like this word. So, to I gave a talk at Stanford in October. The title was at that time "Crossing Boundaries." I put the crossing boundary. People usually live it within the cozy zone, right? And sometimes you need the courage to cross the boundary. And whether boundary is about from academia to industry or among different disciplines. So whenever you cross the boundary, then you have good ideas, and then you can probably start the companies. This is my journey, and it just happened to start actually in '92, and I became a professor there. I did my PhD at Stanford, so I know Silicon Valley. And so, in fact, I went to Silicon Valley in 1983. So it's been 40 years that I've been following Silicon Valley. So I thought, yeah, maybe I should start a company in Silicon Valley. And I didn't know anything about the Silicon Valley business. But anyway, I went to Silicon Valley. And then after, 3 years, SAP proposed me to acquire my company. At that time, I was talking to one of the major venture capital called Kleiner Perkins at that time. And Kleiner, I thought, well, I get the money from the Kleiner Perkins, and I have a partnership with the SAP. That would be great picture. Then SAP, what they said was, I cannot give you, I cannot partner with you, because at that time SAP was attacked by Oracle in business. Oracle was database company, and Oracle was trying to go up to the stack to become an ERP company. So, SAP, Oracle was a big headache at that time. So the guy called Shai Agassi, I will show you the picture later. He was an Israeli entrepreneur. The SAP bought his company to make him a CEO sometime in the future, to change SAP. But so he had an idea, maybe we should buy a next generation database technology and do something. They didn't know what to do, but anyway, that's a vague idea. So that's why. But he said at the time, "Wow, if I partner with you and you have a funding from Kleiner Perkins, then I'm essentially raising another enemy. So I cannot do this. So you have to come inside the company." So that's what he insisted. Anyway, I got I refused to do acquisition in the beginning, but I got persuaded. Then I started SAP's internal project, and I had access to all the SAP's proprietary information, etc. So I should run fast. So I'm sorry. Anyway, SAP's HANA platform, sorry about the layout, was incubated from Korea. And I don't know if you know anyone Korean, HANA means in Korean in one. So, you put all, transaction, machine learning, analytical processing, and business application in one platform. That's the idea from Korean perspective. There's a German perspective, different one. And I skipped this picture. This is too technical, but anyway, until even now, there are no companies, IBM, Microsoft, Oracle, or even startups that did not catch up the technical sophistication. I'll skip this. So this gentleman was one of the founders and still chairman of supervisory board. So this happened to start discussion in August of 2005, even before acquisition. He told me that we have a problem. Our software has become too complex because database performance is not very good. So we have to do all the hacks. So maybe if we have a very good database technology, we can simplify the software. So that's what we did after for the next 10 years. And nobody knew how to do it. But anyway, we made progress. And one of the major project that I did at the end was to develop SAP HANA and to run SAP's own ERP on top of HANA. So this became the basis of what is called S/4HANA. It was released, I think, in 2015. So I think they are doing very good business at the moment. So many companies lined up, to install S/4HANA for real-time business. Okay, sorry about this. And if you go to Silicon Valley, there's a place called the HANA House. I happen to get some award. But I want to mention I had a friends. There are difficult times. I had a friends. I invited two people to this, this ceremony. And one is Seung-Jin Hwang. I think he has a program, Stanford NUS program in business. And also Insigri is two-time the startup founder, and now he's working at the venture capital. I had a student, these are my direct students, and two guys on the right now become one of the key members of Snowflake, and there are others, spread around, in the companies related to data and AI. There's some, entrepreneurs who followed me, and these two became unicorn in Silicon Valley. And there's also Stanford professor, female, who started the company. I think he said the company's valuation is around $500 million, but we'll see. And there are other companies. So I think I relied on the technology. So, to develop my own technology, I had to understand the trends, below my layer, and then also above my layer. So you have to understand, the layers. And at that time, AMD was, now AMD is bigger than Intel. At that time, Intel was probably 8 times of AMD. And but AMD had a better technology, and SAP but teamed up with Intel. So SAP brought me to Intel architect, and then I influenced them to change their architect. Anyway, so hardware makes difference. So I got the 1 terabyte of DRAM from Samsung. 2009. These are sample memories. So then SAP got convinced, wow, this is now our time, to act. So the entire SAP started to, investing or betting on this new technology. I think this is well known in academia. Science develops through occasional paradigm shift of disruptive innovation, and such a paradigm shift is not triggered by the mainstream, by the outliers. And before the year 2010, no one believed that enterprise scale in-memory database is possible. It's only 13 years, right? And there's this theory of crossing the chasm. So essentially what I did was I started from university and then scaled the research to the big companies, and eventually opened up new market with the new technology. So you need talent. Talent is the most important one, and then of course, if you have a talent, then the money follows. And also, what I leveraged was SAP's data. Now in AI age, data is most important, right? SAP had owned data, enterprise data. So I leveraged that. And then also what I learned in don't be afraid of be rebels. I think maybe I have to stop, right? But I wanted to say one thing. These big companies cannot follow. But the young guys, new companies emerge to take over new market. These are, Snowflake and Databricks. So this company started in 2013. At that time, some of my friends in Silicon Valley, venture capitalists, suggested me to start the company. If I started the company, then I probably have on one of these companies. But at that time, university asked me to come back and to start a Big Data Institute. And so that's but anyway, this is summary of what I did. And I started this kind of a new, academic institution to change the education. The essence here is I bring instead of computer science students, I invite students with any major to come to this new graduate school and learn data science, for 2 years. Maybe it takes 3 years, but anyway, because they understand domain. Now once they learn this data science, they can solve problem immediately themselves. So that's what I did, and I skipped this. Maybe I can explain later. A, B, C, D, E, which is easy to remember. And among others, big data. Data is the most important. And this is my advisor. He just passed away last year. But he's one who also started the Google project. And he taught me out-of-box thinking toward uncharted frontiers. I really appreciate him for what I am now. I had a chance to work with this crazy gentleman, Shai Agashi, and also the former CEO of SAP. After retirement, he also started German Industry 4.0 initiative. So let me stop here, and it's now your turn.
Thank you, Professor Cha, for that presentation. I think there will be a lot more opportunities to share more in this fireside chat. So now, may I please invite Nidhi Gupta, who is our moderator for today. Nidhi is the CEO and co-founder of Podcast, a Singapore-based logistics tech startup that aims to make global supply chains dynamic and efficient using geospatial data and machine learning. As an experienced strategy and logistics professional, Nidhi, sorry, so sorry. Nidhi has over a decade of leadership experience in Asia Pacific with the Deutsche Post DHL Group, and Nidhi is passionate about digitalization and innovation in the supply chain and logistics industry. Nidhi, could I please invite you on stage? And Nicholas, can we please set up?
We should probably use here.
Thank you, Prof, for that brief overview on your accomplished career so far. I'm sure the audience has a lot of questions, but I will just start and then open up to the forum. I think one thing that you mentioned, which kind of stood out, was being a rebel for traditional businesses or in terms of innovation. Could you elaborate on that, and what do you mean by being a rebel, and how can entrepreneurs think about that?
Yeah, I think, I mean, when you start the business, you can think of business that can partner with the big companies, right? And you need some big companies to help you to grow. But on the other hand, sometimes you want to challenge, the big companies, and usually you get scared. But I think if you think, if you're not afraid of being a rebel, then you can find the weak points, of the big guys. And big guys usually have a big weak point. Do you know the theory called the innovator's dilemma? How many know innovator's dilemma? Yeah. That's a problem of the big guys. They cannot get away from the existing thinking of the partners, product and services. So, you find out, where they are weak, and then you challenge them, whether it's a technology or a new business model. I think there's a room for that.
So when did you in your career first remember that you were a rebel? Was it when you started your company, or was it when you were within SAP trying to go against how the legacy business was working? What's the first thing that you go back?
That's an excellent question. I mean, if I knew the business very well, I would not have started the company. Because I might have a peer. Because I didn't know anything about the business, I started the company. And once I started the company, that I don't want to shut down the company, so I have to continue. And so I stayed on, and then there are many friends, like the friends that I showed, they encouraged me to stay on. You got a very unique technology. Someday you'll get a bright light. And I stayed on, and I continued to journey. And SAP suddenly approached to me, because they were just desperate at that time. And when did I learn to become rebel? I mean, in the beginning, I thought, because I didn't know anything about, just how Oracle was strong or not, how good, Oracle's technology is good or not. So I started the company. And as time goes on, I learned that, these guys have a weakness. The question is, can I overcome these big guys, with my technology? I didn't have understanding, but it took me a while, some years, for me to understand that inside SAP, inside at SAP, in the beginning, I focused on technology development, but SAP didn't even know how to proceed. So I had to understand the business as well inside. Fortunately, SAP is a company that developed business software. You see, right? So, I learned the business on the way from the SAP. They have accounting software, they have all the HR software, and, so I learned, business management from SAP. And then I worked with the founder of SAP. So he had a long journey of developing SAP, and I had privilege of learning his wisdom directly.
So it seems like you were very fortunate to find mentors or advisors in your journey. Um, you, do you think it is just by luck that you can find a mentor or advisor, or is there a way that people can, figure out who are the right mentors that they can bring on in their career?
I think that's a good question. I think there are many mentors, uh, many types of mentors. You have to know what type of mentors you need. Mentors should be able to complement, right? And but also you need, the prerequisite, which is you are capable of stay on with either good technology or with your own vision and conviction. Then there are mentors around the world who are willing to help you, because from mentors' perspective, it's also very valuable thing to do. So
It's a two-side relationship,
right,
basically.
yeah.
So, a lot of your time was in the early part of the career was about being an entrepreneur. And then, when you sold the company to SAP, setting up, the entire technology within SAP, what do you think are the traits of the right traits of being an entrepreneur or a CEO, like especially for a deep tech startup? Because a lot of deep tech technologists love to create technology, right? Their fantasy or their sort of motivation comes from the enjoyment of building technology, creating stuff. But how does that translate into being an entrepreneur? And what are the traits that need to come in to be a successful deep tech entrepreneur?
Now I can tell, but at the beginning I didn't know anything. But at the beginning I started from the university lab, so we developed interesting technology. If you just write the paper, and I thought, well, maybe this is not. I can probably go beyond that. So that's what I have some vague ideas about going beyond university labs, because I was proud of what I did at the time. But it's very technical. But once I went out to the market, then I faced the problem that you mentioned. Then I tried to learn from many people, here and there, and then some are advisors, and eventually, figure out how to stay on. So um, I think that's you have something, and you don't give up. That's the first requirement. To be an entrepreneur. Actually, I showed one gentleman here. When I explained this, big data is the most important. He's actually a venture capitalist at the moment called GFT Ventures. He's amateur boxer. I invited him to have a chat with me in the seminar that I run, and he spent 20 years with Jensen Huang in NVIDIA as the head of business development. So he essentially built up the ecosystem of NVIDIA for 20 years until 2021. And then he started the venture capital. So what he said, the most important thing is, even if you are knocked out, you should be able to stand again. So that's one of the most important things. So I'm borrowing his ideas.
Yeah, so absolutely. And then I think, when let's say you are a deep tech entrepreneur, you're really proud about an idea, you want to bring it to life, want to create a company, you find the belief to do that. But you still need a team to make that happen.
That's right.
What do you think, you were able to do to build a great team, to build that idea to be successful?
Well, I think it's one of the advantages of being a professor is you have a student, and the student, have the same vision and conviction. Some of those will follow you, they actually went through the difficult times together, and they anyway end up developing SAP HANA together with me, and they thought maybe at one point, wow, this is too much, but now these guys are enjoying because they're the first who developed this technology. Databricks needs it, Snowflake needs it, Google needs it. They are wanted by many companies, but I am currently encouraging them to start their own companies.
So, when you started a company, and then now you're working on the other side, looking at companies as a venture capital, as part of a venture capital firm. What is it that you look for now? Do you kind of remember the traits that you had as an entrepreneur? What is it that you look for in a company when you kind of bring it to the investment committee?
I think, yeah, that's a good question. I'm looking for the talent. Whoever, technology or ability to develop new technology, and also commitment. So once I find those talents, some may have a good business model already. I mean that will be the best. But even if they don't have good business models, they have a good potential, then I can nurture them and create a business model together and build the company together. So I think I'm fortunate to understand the technology better than other venture capitalists. So so that's what I'm doing at the moment.
And then, being based in the Valley and coming to Singapore or Asia in general, what do you think are the differences in the way companies are built in the Valley, or how entrepreneurs are created in the Valley versus how people think about that, or companies think about being built here?
I think when I started company, I first started from Korea. Then I realized that, wow, nobody understands what I'm doing. So, nobody appreciates, the deep part of, the technology. It means that it's not easy for others to imitate. And then when I went to Silicon Valley, there are people who understand. For example, when I was speaking to Kleiner Perkins, at that time it was number 1 or number 2 venture capital. there were two partners. One was a guy called Bill Joy, who developed Berkeley Unix. I don't know anyone remember that, the Berkeley Unix, as a graduate student, and one of the founders of Sun Microsystem, who got bought by Oracle. So he knew instantly the technology. And then there was another partner who was COO of Oracle. So he knew instantly the business. So there are people over there, ecosystem. So the guy called Ray Lane, who grew the Oracle about 10 times before he was kicked out by Ray Ellison. And he didn't understand technology, but he told me that, wow, you seem to have a good technology, but your business model is really, I don't see any business model. So what did I tell him? Can you guess? He was very pleased. If I know business model, why should I come to you? And he really liked me. So this is how the Silicon Valley works. So there's a really a good ecosystem with a lot of experience. So if you have a good basis, if you go to Silicon Valley, then you get help from these guys. So I think maybe you don't have much difference in the beginning. So one of the ideas that I have is if I find a good talent here, I want to bring them to the Silicon Valley and grow it as a global company. Yeah, I don't know whether it actually matches what your question, but
Prof, a lot of the things that you're talking about require a lot of courage, right? To start a company requires courage. To go to a person heading a company like that and be able to say that, if I knew the business model, I would not talk to you. That requires courage. To be in SAP and basically be on the secret project to reinvent how SAP is delivering technology to the world requires courage. But behind courage is fear. What
yeah.
is your relationship with fear? How do you overcome it? And how do you kind of get past it to actually deliver something great?
Yeah, I think I guess I first had a pride. I didn't want to keep up, so that was I had a pride in what I had, so I didn't want to give up. So that helped me to overcome fear. I think if you have a good advisors, mentors, then I think you can overcome fears. I see. I recently met 28 years old, startup founder. He just got the money. I think the valuation was around 350 million. He got funding from Sequoia Capital and NEA, a major venture capitals. So he was very optimistic. He has a good picture, but there's no promise that the good picture will be delivered or not. But he was very optimistic and also willing to learn from people. So I think even though he was 28 years old, the VCs funded the big money. So yeah.
So it's never giving up.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you see technology. We have heard this year so much about generative AI. and you've specialized in deep tech right from the beginning. What are the trends that you see for the next couple of years? What are the technologies you're sort of looking forward to seeing coming to life, or what are the trends you're seeing?
I think, yeah, I'm supposed to talk positively about Gen AI, right? But anyway, the panel in the afternoon was also about Gen AI. I think there so far a lot of money went to still there are a lot of money waiting to be invested on Gen AI, and so far the foundation model companies. I don't think there will be 10 companies in that space. Now it's clear that some companies got billions of dollars. They will be leading, but there are. I think I emphasized. I showed the A, B, C, D, E. A means AI, B means big data, C means computing. You have to understand these three. And then on top of that, you need the domain knowledge. Again, business logic, workflow, etc. And then entrepreneurship. So that's what I say, A, B, C, D, E. The AI, Gen AI, now the most important part is the data. And data is embedded with the domain knowledge. Business logic, business workflow, etc. So understanding data and securing data, then you can start a company, and then nobody can beat you in that space. So I think there are a lot of open rooms, even inside SAP's business. There's a lot of room for. So what is Gen AI good for? Automation of repeatable knowledge work, right? That's what Gen AI is good for. So then, you can find a lot of places where you can automate with the data. I think there's so many applications. So you can find, if you find good people, who understand both domain and also the big data and AI, then you can build a good company.
I just want to pause here and see if there are any questions from the audience.
Anytime. I think younger is better, of course. But if you start young, then you need good mentors. Yeah.
Sorry. I think I came into the right place. I'm the electronic electrical engineering designer. I'm retired. I'm 79 years old. The world problem, the global warming, environmental problem, because population increase and electricity demand a lot, and end up we facing the big problem. So I got an innovative idea. I tested myself. I create the electricity with zero emission green electricity supply, forever green, zero. And the electricity supply never end, because like the dam, the upper dam flow to the turbine and flow after the turbine, the water go up to the ocean. So I can pump the water from the bottom of the ocean, go up to the top of the dam to recycle without using electricity pump. Automatically, forever, it's 100% green, and the electricity keep on providing free of charge everything. And you can use it the whole country, use it on the desert, use it on the street or at the household, no problem. Let's say I put a house, this room.
That sounds like a really great technology. Do you have a question for
Yeah,
Prof.
I got a question. The question is, I'm looking for someone to support me to make this one happen in this world. And then forever, human being, no more environmental problem, no more electricity problem, forever supply green 100% electricity. I'm looking for somebody to support me. I hope the professor can help.
Thank you, sir. So maybe if I can turn the question a little bit, or find it, to the theme of this, from idea to impact. I think a lot of people have ideas, and a lot of people have probably spent time and their knowledge on building the idea to create a technology. How do they then find the right team or the right mentors or the right investors to bring it to life?
So I think nobody knows at the beginning. So you start, what is the most important, your decision to start, and then your commitment to continue the experiment. So you find out, no business plan survives at the end. You have to continue to change your business plan on the fly, because your understanding of the world, becomes bigger and bigger. So I think, but the VCs see that some potential and also the commitment, then, they invest, that they work with you to grow the company.
Are there any other questions? So, Prof, you said you have an idea for a new kind of a venture fund. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So, I'm working for the one of the the venture capitalists in the Silicon Valley. I've known the founder of this venture capital for a long time, a good friend of mine. So, he asked me to help him. This is now the AI age. You need to understand the technology. And then I realized that maybe I create my own, with the more understanding of technology, with a network of good talents. I can probably, focus on the area that I know very well, and then help the companies to start to challenge the legacy. So actually, I created a name called the Freedom of Innovation Ventures. So we have a freedom of innovation to challenge the legacy. So as I said, the big companies always have problems. So we can find the sweet spots, and then grow the company. Thank you for asking that.
Come on, it's an opportunity to ask a question. Yeah, please.
Hi, Prof. I was just curious, right? If you could give yourself an advice for your 21-year-old self, what would you say to yourself?
21 years
Yeah.
old? Oh, wow. That's a challenge. You have to study. First, actually, one of the founders that I showed, he started the company analyzing soccer players with a vision. So I think he came over to me, I think 2014, and he loved the soccer. And he said, I want to create some software for soccer players and also the the clubs, etc. And then he asked me about what I did with the SAP, analyzing soccer players' real-time movement using SAP HANA at that time. So the German soccer team won World Cup in 2014 because they were trained with the real-time analytics. And so he came over to me and asked, what's the magic? And I told him, well, now with the AI, you should use computer vision to track the soccer players. And he was actually a student in social science. So he was taking some computer programming course and didn't know anything about AI. And he said, I want to quit the university. So I thought, you should continue to study. But no, he never came back to me. But he quit. He quit the university and started the company. And that company was funded by the venture capital that I mentioned, Altos Ventures, the Silicon Valley venture capital, who was very successful in Korea. And one day I met this VC who said, "Oh, I invested the company started by one of your students," and that. But I recently invited him to the seminar that I run. So he was showing the journey and also the technology that he had. He is almost close to PhD in data science. So, starting from the social science, he learned, all the AI techniques, technologies to the business desperately. So I think, it depends on people, He quit the university, but his technical skill is comparable to close to PhD. So.
I think that's the great thing about education now, and you talk about talent so much, right? The great thing about education now is that you don't need to follow a particular education system in order to build expertise in a particular sphere like data science. You have so much information to access. What do you do differently in your data science course to build, expertise?
So, I'm promoting the education of the data science to domain, student with the domain science knowledge. So, I established a new graduate school. There's some computer majors coming in, but most of them come from different disciplines like economics. Now, fortunately, economics department teaches the mathematics and statistics very well. So they are prepared, except the computer skills. And there are some bio majors coming in, and there are some mechanical engineering background, student coming in. They all have their unique domain knowledge. So once you combine this domain knowledge with this data and AI skills, then you recognize problem, earlier than others, and you can solve your problem yourself without depending on others. So I think this kind of education is now very useful. Very needed at the moment in the world.
Just need to mix different groups of people, music and dance and political science and data science.
Right. The problem is the universities are run by professors. I was professor. They don't want to change their boundaries. So that's the biggest problem. Yeah. in the world.
Any other questions?
He holds a budget of 250 million Sing or US dollars. Like people,
Who is that person?
I can introduce you and have dinner with him. But when people, they do great science and then they actually naturally receive a lot of attention and also budget, no matter government or, private VC capitals. However, like young people like myself, when I was trying to get important faces to show up in my website as a startup to actually, credential for me, it becomes like a conflict of interest because sometimes these successful professors holding multiple hats, some government, roles, and there's a lot of debate in terms of whether these people should or should not support the ecosystem. What's your take, Prof. Cha?
I think, I don't know whether professor is good at the business. I was not good at business. I just learned hard way the business by failing many times on the way. So, you can take easy money from the government, but the question is whether you can really grow the company. Then, you can do research project, that's fine, You produce research outcome and the research and students, then they can do something else later. So I think that's good. But if you want to start a business, then you should not get the money from the government, easy money from the government, because that spoils your fighting spirit.
Actually, so we should go the hard way. And
Right.
how about young startup? Like for me, I'm ending my corporate role to actually also think about, being build some venture on my own, as you were suggesting, as early as possible. But also, a lot of professors who are friends and really care for me, like remind me that this and next year is really the worst frozen season, that I should not, immediately jump in, and I may lose, income for I don't know how unlimited time that we will never be able to predict.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you have to be realistic, right? But you don't want to cut your salary. This is the only lifeline in your life, and you should keep it. But usually, the one with the salary, want to live in the cozy zone. So it's hard to persuade someone with a good salary to start a company. But the exception now in Silicon Valley is some of the people around them are starting company get the big funding in AI. Then they are thinking, wow, what am I doing now? So they jump on this starting AI companies. So that's happening at the moment in Silicon Valley. But maybe that's an exception. But if you are really interested in doing the crazy things to become a rebel, then but you should have some money to keep your lifeline. Then you can start your company anytime.
Thank you. If I got one more question. Yeah. So, Prof, for you, since you represent your best friend running, his project screening for his venture capital money, are you, when you actually mentioned that, are you actively also looking for good projects and good team, and invest in them for Singapore?
For Singapore, I don't care about the country. Wherever the good talents are, we find the talent, and then establish a Silicon Valley company. And the reason is I explained to her before. These venture companies want to establish their the invested companies in their jurisdiction.
So I
you
need
know,
to move to Silicon Valley if you were to support us.
not necessarily. You need to have your company in Silicon Valley. The money goes through there, and you get sued if you not do very well. I mean, that you do some bad things with the money, then you get sued in Silicon Valley.
Are there other people
Thank you.
in the audience who want to start companies?
That's great. That's
Have
great.
you already started? You've
Can-
already started?
Can you?
Any questions for Prof. Cha?
So, thank you very much. I just have more of a philosophical question because you did your PhD before I was born, so you have a lot of experience in this domain. So it's a hypothetical scenario. For example, like let's say you want to do a disruption. You have an idea, you have the energy, you want to commit. That's why you create a startup. You team up with someone, and in the end, like it finds out like the energy level is different. And now you are more passionate, you want to go for a disruption at a faster pace, but let's say your team members are slowing you down. So they are slacking. And in other words, the question becomes, why are you so productive? So in that social dynamic, how would you navigate?
So usually, one of the common rules in Silicon Valley is if we have two founders, that is good, ideal, with the complementary skills and experience. That will be the best. But anyway, you have a chemistry. You have to share the same chemistry, right? If one partner, falls, then who can correct that? Can you guess who can correct? Investors.
Let's say if you're at a seed extension stage and you don't have any institutional investors.
Seed stage. I mean, if you don't get the investment, then you can break your company anytime. so you can start again. But once you get the money from the investor, the investors are on the same boat, so they will probably do bad jobs for you.
But what if? Oh, sorry, I'm continuing in this thought process. But what if the let's say the slacker co-founder is also the chairman of the board?
We'll have a problem.
Then it's like it's
No,
a
I think-
double foul.
No, I think the investors have a stake at the end. So investors will do, or or the investor will close the company if they don't like. So or do not help them to get the additional funding.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Prof. Cha, please?
Sorry, I just want to ask, what would you say is a good indication that you have acquired the essential skills to start up?
I mean, what I didn't understand, the indication.
That you have acquired the relevant and essential skills to start up.
So you mean whether the company should go for acquisition or IPO? What's the
To
question?
start up, to
Yes,
start something
like-
new.
Yeah, like what we say, like personally, is a good indication that you have the relevant skills. Like you have already.
You as a you are
Yeah.
ambitious. You are capable enough to be a founder.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, what are the indications? Well, I think
Basically, we all want to be a founder, but do we have the right skills?
you need to have some depths first, right? To start with, and then also you have a capability of understanding, holistically. That's a very tough. But if you have an intellectual curiosity, then you get to understand the many things together, in the horizon that you want to get in. So I think there are many things that that are good for startup founders. Like, first you should have an intellectual curiosity, and then ability to understand the not only technical issues but other things as well. So you cannot have everything, but you can find the co-founder, or you can find the investor, or you can find the mentors that help you fill the gap.
One who's not the chairman of the board.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Any people who are academicians here?
I got lost today about the point.
So the question is, how do you balance between being a rebel and following the course?
I think that the pathways are different. So you either pursue the rebellion, and the another path will be to compromise, find some spots which may not be that big, but it's a good spot to get on. Understanding the business and also the changes of technology and etc., regulation, etc. There are some spots. I mean, being a rebel is not the only path, but there are other possibilities for startups as well.
Prof, if you had to start a company again today, is there a particular area, domain, technology that excites you?
I think the AI applications is also even in Gen AI core technology, they just developed LLM, but they don't have a tools for managing the process of creating LLM or maintaining LLM. There's no good tool yet. So that's a big project, and maybe I should get 100 million to start the company in that space. But there are areas still open, and I think this is exciting time if you understand the AI and also domain.
Maybe my last question. So, it is really exciting to start a company, to, have an idea, try to bring it to you to have a life, and then maybe even sell it to a large company, have a great exit, etc. But not everyone is able to do that. So, a lot of the ideas get into being a company, but may not find large enough market, or may reach a plateau, or may not succeed fully. So what is your advice to someone who is fearful of starting because it may not succeed, or may
I
fail?
think if one of the reasons that I encourage to go to Silicon Valley is that they have a bigger ecosystem. So even if you fail, that becomes an asset. And so, there are some VCs, even if the VCs see some companies fail, then they pick up the founders and then give them another job. So the failure is, it's not bad, failure gives a really valuable experience to you, and based on that, you can start a company and succeed.
Thank you. That's great advice. I will remember the person who was the amateur boxer and, just never giving up. And that's, I think, it seems like being a guiding force in your life. Thank you, Prof. Cha. Thank you for the questions.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Nidhi, and thank you, Prof. Cha. We have now come to the end of the event, but we have some refreshments at the back, so feel free to network. I'm not sure if Prof. Cha will be able to stay much longer, but yes. Thank you, everyone. Can we please give a round of applause to our speakers again?